Adult ADHD is one of those lightning words in the therapeutic community. Some believe that it exists and some believe that it doesn't. But more and more of research and science is demonstrating that it does in fact exist. And it is a very real problem that quite a few adults wrestle with. So a lot of times we stick with the stereotype of ADD, ADHD with kids and the little boy who bounces around the room and can't be redirected and can't focus and can't do the task at hand, and the frustrated parents. Well, the trick is, and the problem is, that little ADD boy grows up. And many times we don't grow out of ADD, ADHD. We can learn different coping skills and ways of managing the ADD as we get older. But many times, particularly adults today, are not aware that they may be wrestling with symptoms of ADD and ADHD because it wasn't diagnosed years ago. It wasn't an acceptable thing. It was just the child who was disobedient, or the problem kid, or the bad student, or oppositional. So these kids grow up untreated, undiagnosed, unhelped. Even if without the label, they grow up unhelped, without given specific skills and goals to work towards. And they reach adulthood, and many have learned in some ways to manage their own, but in many ways they haven't learned how to manage them completely. So how do you know if you have adult ADD, ADHD? One of the first criteria is that there's a good chance you had it from before or about age 7 on. If you were to talk with your folks, or if you were to think back yourself and look at your behavior as a kid, what was school like for you? What was doing homework like for you? Did you exhibit some of the symptoms of ADD that you see in kids today then? Do you think, oh, if only they had been able to do this then, things could have been very different for me? So how does it show up now as an adult? Because many times we've learned some coping skills, or reverse that, many times we've done pretty well until we reach adulthood, when we start getting more and more responsibilities loaded on top of us. And so we've got more plates spinning, and it becomes more difficult to manage those. And that's when the ADD shows up, because we have the difficulty in managing all these extra things. So some of the symptoms of adult ADD, adult ADHD, is difficulty staying focused. You start doing one task, and all of a sudden you think, oh, I need to move this mail over here in this pile. And when you set down that pile, you notice that all this stuff is spread out on the table. Well, you'll just quick organize that and put that in the drawer nice and neat away. And while you're doing that, well, this doesn't go in the drawer, so you'll go put that over in the kitchen and start organizing the kitchen. And all these projects are left undone around your office or around your home. And it's just kind of like, oh, okay, that doesn't seem to be working for me anymore. I'm getting made too much fun of this. So then there's the flip side of that, called hyperfocused. And that's where you overcompensate to a degree that you tune out everything around you trying to get this one task done. The building could be on fire and you wouldn't hear it, because you are so hyper-focused on that one task you're trying to force your way through. That can be a sign of an overdeveloped response to adult ADD or adult ADHD. Then there's the typical disorganization and forgetfulness. Where did I put my keys? There's some commonness to some of this stuff, and to some degree we all deal with symptoms of this. The key to all these symptoms we're going through is when they interfere with your life, when they're having an impact, a negative impact on those around you and on your own way of living your life. So some disorganization, some forgetfulness is going to happen. But when it's chronic, when it's going on, when you don't know where you put that memory stick, you just did that Word document, you just, got that meal in the oven, you have all this stuff, and it's like, okay, what do I do next? What's going on? Completely disorganized, complete lack of, or complete forgetfulness. Then there's also impulsivity. This is sometimes the adult we say, oh, they've never grown up. They go out and do something spur of the moment, and sometimes kind of crazy and sometimes kind of risk-taking. These are the adrenaline junkies in some ways, always looking for that rush, because the chemical reactions going on in the brain with that risk-taking behavior help the brain to focus. So the brain begins to seek it and crave it and want it. So we want more and more and more of it, and so we will create situations or seek out situations that will give us those chemical releases in the brain that we're needing, when we're really just trying to medicate, self-medicate our own symptoms of ADD and ADHD. In some adults, and some of these symptoms kind of overlap with other symptoms, so it's important to come in and meet with a professional to help you ferret out, decide which issue you may actually be dealing with. Because, like, for example, irritability, crankiness, moodiness, mood swings can be a sign of ADD, ADHD, but it can also be a sign of many other things. Anxiety, particularly for men, it could be a sign of depression. So it's important to discuss with someone who can help you know the fine-tuned details of, is this adult ADD, ADHD? Real short fuse, always on edge, not taking criticism well. These are some of the things that fall in that category of irritability. Restlessness, this is kind of the stereotypical one, the adult who's always moving their legs, always jiggling their foot, always clicking the pen, always doing something, playing with the paper clip, moving the papers around on the desk, always have a sugar drink, always have something. Because some of those sugary drinks, coffees, those are stimulants, and that's how we treat ADD, ADHD in the medical model, is by providing a stimulant. It's sort of counterintuitive, but that is what helps the brain focus and tune out some of the distractions. So coffees, caffeines, sugars are ways of self-medicating that. So all of these symptoms taken together, if you feel like these are some of the things that you're dealing with, they're impairing your life, we here at the Nick Finnegan Counseling Center are equipped to sit down with you, to have the conversation and start teasing some of these things out. Is this anxiety? Is this ADD? Is this just my busy lifestyle and I'm just kind of a ramped up person? We can help talk through those things, look at family of origin, look at current circumstances, explore different ways of letting some of the things go. There's some cognitive behavioral things we can do. Not every time we hear the word ADD, we think medication. Not everything has to be treated with medication. There are behavioral techniques. There are different skill sets we can help you incorporate into your life that can help reduce those symptoms so that they're manageable, livable level.